You're welcome to this episode. Uche Anofinam is my name, and I want to show you how to leverage on Parkinson Law to grow your wealth. How you can leverage on Parkinson Law to grow your wealth. Parkinson Law is about the best known law for wealth creation, and it is a challenge that most people face. That the more money you earn, the more expenses have to rise to ensure that you spend that money. What many people do is they earn and spend. They earn and spend. When you were earning a little income, you were managing just fine. Now you are earning 5 times, 20 times the amount you were earning before, and that still can't be enough for you. It is the Parkinson Law that is at work in your life. Now, not Code Parkinson in 1955 discovered this law, and it says that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you have a work to do and you want to finish it in 2 hours, you can. And also, if you allow that work to drag for 3 days, it will also be there until you have time to finish it. So work always expand to fill the time available for its completion. When money comes, the expenses that will take it away will always come. So Parkinson Law clearly states that expenses will always rise to meet income. Expenses will always rise to meet income. No matter how much money you earn, you are likely to spend all of it. So increased money also lead to increased expense. Increased income always lead to increased expense. Expenses will always rise to meet income. That is just the law that the Parkinson discovered. So it happens to everyone. You are receiving $50,000 per annum, for example, and you are okay. The money is enough for you. Now you are earning $700,000 per annum, and you are still borrowing and even in debt. So that is just the problem that many people have. So your task as somebody who wants to grow his or her wealth is to learn how to violate this Parkinson Law. Learn how to discipline yourself to violate this Parkinson Law. Otherwise, you will never make anything meaningful. If you have not learned to save compulsively and invest in an investment that will guarantee you returns, you are condemned to earn and invest. Even when your income increases, so will your expenses increases. It is even said that when wealth increase, the mouth that will eat it will also increase. So you must learn how to violate this law of Parkinson so as to be able to grow your wealth. And this is how to violate that law. Resist the urge to spend everything that you earn. Resist the urge to spend everything that you earn. Always discipline yourself to set a percentage aside. At least 50% of your earning, 30% of your earning must be set aside for investment that will multiply back to increase that wealth that you have. So whatsoever may cause you to spend compulsively, resist it. Discipline yourself to resist compulsive spending, impulsive spending, making expenditure that you have not budgeted for. If you don't discipline yourself to resist this natural urge, a man to spend one's income or revenue comes to your hands, it will be very difficult for you to grow any meaningful wealth. You will continue to live from hand to mouth. You earn your salary, before the end of the month, the money is exhausted, and you will even be in debt waiting for the next payday. So that is not a good way to live. It is your responsibility to discipline yourself to break this law of Parkinson that is at work in everybody's life. So that is your responsibility. Think of investment. Before you think of investment, think of saving. And before money comes to your hands, make plans on what or how to use that money so that as the money comes, you channel it towards that investment. If money comes into your hands and you don't have a plan waiting, it is likely that you're not going to utilize that money. You will spend that money on passing fancies. And number 2 way is reduce your spending. Reduce your spending. Live within your means. The percentage of your income that you have earmarked for survival, don't exceed it. For no reason should you exceed the amount that you have earmarked for your monthly expense or your weekly expense, depending on how you get your money. So that percentage that you have earmarked for savings, take it out and invest it or save it somewhere that you will not be tempted to touch it. And then begin to accumulate it. Continue to accumulate it until it grows to fit your investment purpose, and channel it in an investment that will guarantee you will not lose the money, that will guarantee that it will yield you returns, and then you continue to grow the wealth. So identifying those needless expenditures that take your money away from you and resist them. Don't spend money on vacations that are not necessary. Don't spend money on consumption that you can do without. Don't buy things because somebody brought them to your office and you feel compelled to buy. Don't go on window shopping and carry money in your pocket because certainly you are going to spend the money before you return home. So it is your responsibility. If you don't know how to cut off unnecessary expenses, those habits that are costing you money, discipline yourself to do away with them and live within your means. When your income grows, you can expand your expenditure if you wish. But primarily, you spend money from the revenue that comes from your investment, not the seed money that you have earned. Number 3, draw a budget and then restrict yourself to those fixed expenditures. Every expenditure that is not essential, resist spending on them. When you have an urge to spend, resist it at least for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months. Most of the urge for us to spend are just passing fancies. When you withhold yourself from spending, that urge will just find itself fizzled out of your life, and you find out that you can still do just fine without making those expenditures. So put yourself on budget. Put your expenditures on budget and don't exceed them. Don't exceed them for no reason. People may come and cry and try to whip sentiment to take your money away from you. You may be tempted to entertain friends on needless basis. Don't do that. You may be tempted to organize ceremonies that will cause you to waste your fund in the process. Just be moderate in your lifestyle. Be moderate in your expenditure, and then restrict every consumption that is habitual. Every consumption that is habitual that takes money away from you. Things like pleasure, things like entertaining friends and all of that. Things like needless travels, needless vacations. Cut them off so that you can have enough to save and then enough to invest. It is the investment that you have made that is what you have owned. The money you earn and spend does not belong to you. You have just wasted it. However valuable those expenditures are, but it is no longer in your possession. It's gone out of your hands. But that which you have invested is what actually belongs to you, because that is what is working for you and working for your future. So give priority to that. If you accord serious priority to that, then you will save compulsively so that you can grow that investment that is bringing returns for you. It is when you have continuous flow of returns that you can now save to build whatever lifestyle that you desire. But in the process of growing that wealth, you have to live as moderate and as simple as possible. That is the only way that you can survive or grow your wealth. Then, number 4 and finally, make up your mind to save at least 50% of the revenue that you generate. 50%. You will grow to a point where feeding will no longer be an issue, where paying rent will no longer be an issue. Make provision for that. Basic. Maybe 10, 15, 20%, 30% of your income can cover those basic expenditure. Then the rest, don't see them as savings that is earmarked for lavishing. No. Don't see them as savings that is earmarked for pleasure. No. They are savings you must earmark for investment. It is what you invest that actually belongs to you. That's what guarantees you a glorious, prosperous future. Not what you earn that is exhausted at the end of the month. So, spend only where you have value for money. Spend only where you have value for money. Bargain. Don't just spend because the seller has given you an asking price. Bargain seriously. And then you'll be able to cut out some gain for yourself. So It is left for you to organize your values, restrict yourself, discipline yourself. Those habits that take money away from you, get out of them, and then you find yourself doing well. And I believe any wise person should be reasonable enough to cut off every lavish expenditures. Ucheka is the name, and I want to say thank you. Have a nice day.